Pleased to present Austin Faith Dialogue, brought to you by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries. In the weeks ahead, you will see these and other programs by various denominations.
This is Austin Faith Dialogue, a public affairs program discussing the important crossroad of religion in life, produced by Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KTBC TV. Austin Faith Dialogue highlights the interaction of the religious community with the social and cultural issues throughout our area. Now, today's edition of Austin Faith Dialogue.
In the beginning was the Word. And right from the beginning of the Bible, we have the communication of religious communication. Hello, I'm Richard Thompson, pastor of Central Presbyterian Church, and your host for this edition of Austin Faith Dialogue. And today we have the opportunity to focus upon what is religious communication, how is it important, and how do we do this not only in Austin Faith Dialogue, but in this whole area, in particular through the Catholic diocese, the Austin Diocese, and Richard Miner, who's our guest today, the director of that communications process. And Dick, you know, usually on this show, we have you behind the scenes. But
That's
today
true.
we're delighted to have you right with us in front of the camera and to share with our audience something of your work and how you see that in the larger picture of religious communications. What is it, for instance, that you do from 9 to 5?
Well, my formal title is called the Director of Communications for the Diocese of Austin. And in that position, I directly communicate with the local church, with the entire diocese, which is comprised of 120 Catholic churches in Central Texas, all of the clergy, the religious, and I work directly with the bishop. And then on top of that, we communicate with the externally with the media, government, and the public at large. So there are two general areas of communication that we work with.
And then you have your ecumenical kind of connection, such as this program.
That's true. As a matter of fact, I'm very delighted to be a part of Austin Faith Dialogue. As a matter of fact, as you recall, what was it, about 7 years ago that Austin Faith Dialogue started?
In 1988, actually.
1988. And at that time, I think that we met at the diocese for the first time to discuss that program.
And I have to say, just for the public record here, what a joy it's been to be in association with you and with the diocese and cooperation of Bishop McCarthy during this time. And I think that the enrichment that you bring to your own folks within, you said 120 churches throughout the diocese?
20 churches, about 300,000 Catholics in the Central Texas area.
Okay, well, you're sharing with the hundreds of thousands otherwise in this area. And what is it that you do share with your own people?
Well, the Office of Communication, the umbrella that comes under that office is we have a local newspaper that comes out once a month. It's called the Catholic Spirit. That goes to the general Catholic population. We publish a monthly update newsletter type thing that goes to all the clergy, religious, and it also goes to the local media people, and it allows people to know what's happening in the church for that particular month. And then annually we put out a directory. And then besides that, we work in the areas of radio, working with radio stations in the area, with the television stations such as Channel 7, where we are today, and working with the ecumenical community, specifically with the Austin Metropolitan Ministries, who are responsible for this program.
Right, the sponsor of the show.
And your title there with them is communications with the Austin Metropolitan Ministries, isn't that?
Well, Broadcast Commission Chair has been my title for this time, and as well as hosting it. And I think that I would like to just pause for a moment to recognize the significance of what it means to have for your church such a range from written to electronic You told me about this this fellow here in town, this priest, who has been instrumental in the in establishing ties between the Vatican and Israel.
That's true.
All right, now this is a local person.
Father David Yeager, right?
David Yeager has international importance.
Right. He's been negotiating between the Vatican and Israeli government their ties for the religious and settlement between the two countries, which just came about last week.
Here early in 1994, it's as recent as that.
That's true.
And so you're going to, I suspect you're going to do a story about him, aren't you?
Oh, we have done a story in our paper, in the Catholic Spirit, and I'm sure there will be media interest when he arrives back here. Of course, this program will run after he arrives, but he will be arriving here, and the media will respond to his arrival, I'm sure.
And let's hope that we can have a show of
definitely.
Austin Faith Dialogue that features his work, because
Definitely.
this is an example of the richness of Austin, Texas, in the world community of, I mean, when Bobby Inman from here goes to be the head of the Defense Department, the world recognizes that, but not so often do we see just how much input the religious community makes beyond these borders. So we'll look forward to that.
That's good.
Now, there's within our community currently one example that we've asked you to bring to our show today in terms of a videotape that you made with a Vietnamese doctor working with Southeast Asian refugees through Caritas, as I understand that.
As a matter of fact, that's true. We're preparing for a part in one of these programs with the doctor. And he treats, gives medical treatment to Asians who cannot speak English, who have a different culture, who have a very difficult time in this country. And we did interview him on tape, and that's one of the things that we do is we're able to videotape excerpts for different uses, and we have one of those with us today.
So we have an example of that here right now. So let's take a look at that as an example of your work.
A couple of years ago, when I have the chance to see and to know Sister Ann, she's a very active person working with Caritas and helping the Southeast Asian to settle, especially in Austin. So many times she need to send to my clinic a couple of patients that they are not qualified for Medicaid. They are also not qualified for Medicare. Then it is very difficult for the family to handle. So Sister Ann did ask me whether or not my clinic may help. So we were more than happy to extend our help to take care of these people. That's the main reason we got involved with Caritas. Those people are mainly elderly people. They came to this country under a status we so-called ODP, Orderly Departure Program. So through this program, they were sponsored by their relative, especially a son, daughter, brother, or sister. They came here under this status. So they totally relied on their relative for any type of help, financial help, medical, everything. So as you know, most of the Vietnamese, Southeast Asian refugees, although they are working very hard, they barely have enough for their own family. But as a kind of tradition, a moral obligation, they will try to do the best in order to sponsor their parents to this country. So when their parents are here, they face a lot of problems because those people are not eligible to any social medical help. And those people are those that Caritas is now actively trying to help. And I'm very happy, to contribute in our part to extend our help.
Well, we're very happy to have had you contribute that tape to this. Dick, you visited Dr. Tran's office and highlighted this ministry in that particular way. What was your feeling about this particular ministry as an expression just not of the Catholic Church, but to people of all faiths, I understand?
Well, I think that it's like Dr. Tran said, that he's able to treat people who have a problem with communication, who have a problem with culture. It's a cultural shock for these people to come to this country. And we, not only as religious people, but as all people in this country, have a duty to help those people around us. And he's volunteered his time to do that. And especially the elderly people that have a real difficult problem communicating. And they're frightened somewhat and don't understand the culture. And so I think that through Caritas and through many other areas, not only through Dr. Tran, but through, we work and try to communicate the goodwill of the Caritas downtown, the food bank, everything, that the homeless. And certainly the people involved in drugs and alcohol, and just keeping that word out and trying to get people to help out,
and
like
that's
acquire
just,
volunteers.
And that's just here in the capital city.
That's
I mean,
true.
Your work actually, in terms of communicating the story, goes beyond Austin. And what's the range of the Central Texas Diocese?
Well, the range of Central Texas Diocese is north of Waco, about 20 miles, to south to Lockhart. And then from San Saba on the west to a little east of Brennan, and Bryan College Station is inclusive, as is Waco and Temple and all these other areas.
Okay, so you have outreach ministries to report throughout this area.
Oh, yes, yes.
And as people may be watching from beyond the Austin boundaries, what are some of the kinds of things that you've highlighted from, Temple down to San Saba?
Well, we've gone into Bryan College Station with youth groups, working with the youth groups, working with the food centers in Temple, mission work. Right here in Central Texas, we still have mission work to perform. Churches that need help, that have to be started up in country areas and smaller areas, as well as, and then even extending from then, talking about mission work, we have a mission that we go into Arteaga, Mexico.
I see.
That we have even been in Arteaga to help to try to videotape and to write stories from that area to promote the need that we have to help with in that area.
So the outreach from the Central Texas area into Mexico originates here and is supported here,
yes.
but is an ongoing kind of thing.
The diocese has sent priests down there. We've sent thousands and thousands of volunteers down there over the past 4 years, everywhere from medical people, doctors, teachers, builders, contractors, just to help people out down there.
Well, I think that the way in which you raise to consciousness the kind of thing that's going on within your church to the people of your church, and then the extent to which you interface with the public. You have your PR side, where you're letting everyone know what this is happening, because this benefits others besides those in your own church. What are some of the connections that you have beyond the Catholic community?
I think one of the greatest connections that we have is with the people that produce this program, Austin Metropolitan Ministries, which includes you, which includes Pat Flood, which includes the Lutheran Church, the Baptist Church,
the Jewish
community, and all of the religious communities in Austin, and it keeps in touch with what is really happening, and we're not closeted into one specific religious area.
Okay, well, we're going to come back to that after taking a brief break here, and look forward to continuing this discussion with Dick Miner on religious communications. Remain with us.
Serving Austin means serving you. Each day, Austin Metropolitan Ministries is religion in action, providing affordable housing, caring for the elderly, marching against hunger, and much more. AMM promotes understanding, cooperation, and social involvement. So when we ask for your help, we're really asking to help you, Austin. To find out how you can help Austin Metropolitan Ministries help Austin through its member organizations, just call 472-7627.
Welcome back to Austin Faith Dialogue, and to this particular discussion that we're having today on the subject of religious communications, as we're having it with Dick Miner, the Director of Communications for the Diocese of Austin. And Dick, in the first half you mentioned that one of your responsibilities is to work directly with Bishop John McCarthy. And could you just give our viewers a little bit of a sense of what that interchange involves?
Well, Bishop McCarthy is naturally the bishop of the Diocese of Austin, which makes him the shepherd of some 300,000 Catholics in this particular area. And I'd just like to say that working with him is a great delight in my life, because he is one of the finest communicators that I have ever seen. I mean, the man he's able to, that's why he is where he is today, because he is a communicator, and he is very good at that. He works with me and my particular ministry of communication very well. We work together on a lot of television projects, a lot of written projects, and public speaking projects, and I enjoy very much working with him as he travels around the diocese. And I do quite a bit of traveling around the diocese myself.
Makes it more satisfying to be working with someone that has that commitment to communication.
Absolutely. That's what religion is all about, anyway, to start with. Communication.
Well, at the top of the show I was talking about, in the beginning was the Word, so
Right.
that you have the sense that people's experience of God is one in which they're receiving, and in that two-way relationship that is then transferred to human communities. And I have a feeling that what you've done is also to model how this religious communication has ramifications that we don't even stop to think about. As subtle as people's prayer life, and intimate as that, but then when you go through the media, you're out as far as, I know one year you were organizing a convention here called UNDA.
UNDA USA, right.
And tell us what UNDA is, and as an example of that broader
Actually, UNDA is a Latin word for wave, which stands for Waves of Communication. And UNDA is an organization represented by all of the communication people within the Catholic Church. And they meet annually and discuss communication problems, communication needs, various methods of communications. And they also make an annual Gabriel Award to media people for best television and radio programs.
This is kind of like a religious Emmy Award sort of thing.
It is. It's it's more than that. It's not religious awards. It's on any program promoting good work of any kind.
Values, sort of.
Values,
Okay.
right.
Mhm.
Values-oriented program. And it's awarded to the major networks, the Walter Cronkites, and people like that who in the past have received awards from UNDA.
Now, when you had the convention here in Austin, you were bringing people in from all over the country,
And some from various parts of the world, too.
and I remember that we had on our show that particular week Bob Bonnet, who works for Vision, which is the interfaith cable communications network, and
Which has a cable channel here in Austin. too.
right, and so you work with folks like that as well.
I do. As a matter of fact, Bob Bono and I are on the executive board of UNDA this year. We serve on that board together, and we meet several times a year. As a matter of fact, we just came back from a meeting last month.
Okay. And wasn't it in a meeting of when the Pope was here in San Antonio that you had some responsibility particularly for coverage of that event?
At that time, I was appointed as the media chairman for the papal visit to San Antonio. And I co-chaired that with another gentleman from San Antonio. And just briefly, that was probably one of the most intensive television and media coverages ever in the state of Texas. For that coverage, for that one day, there were more than 44 cameras covering the Pope's visit. There were more than 3,300 press passes released at that time. There were more than 1 million people in San Antonio just to witness that event. And the event lasted for 23 hours. It was a series of events that made up the entire visit. And to be a part of that was a great privilege for me and an honor and a very enjoyable thing. It took a year and a half to put together.
Sounds like you wouldn't have had much time to do anything else. But you had to keep on doing your job otherwise, I guess.
I did.
Well, the thing that has interested me as we work together is I know that you've come to this job here in Austin from an experience and training in media otherwise. Just tell us a little bit about your earlier history and how you happened to wind up here in Austin in this capacity.
Well, I spent more than 25 years in the broadcast industry before I came to Austin. No, not before I came to Austin, but in my lifetime. And I came to Austin some time ago as manager of a television station and a radio station manager. And since at that time they changed ownerships, and then I went on to other work, which led me to the church. And for the past 8 years, I've been with the Diocese of Austin, and it's been a wonderful 8 years.
Right.
And a very, very rewarding time to be able to bring this communication experience into the church.
Right. Well, it's been very rewarding to be working with you, Dick. You've just been a real blessing to us in the ecumenical community. And I want to make sure that we thank you for that.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to work with you.
And we have another brief excerpt that in your interview with Dr. Tron that I think that folks didn't see the one previously, just to give a sense of the kind of professional touch that you bring to this. So let's take a look at that.
We are very fortunate. If we compare with other people still in a communist country, then we feel that we are very fortunate. Being in this country, being back to our profession again, and having this feeling that we are now productive. When I think about that, look to my children, they are growing, they are having one of the best education in the world. both of us, my wife and I, we have a profession, we are working, then we must think that having all of this is because we do really have the chance to get wonderful help, friendship from our American fellows. So with that, we like to profit this occasion to express our sincere gratitude. And from our part, we used to teach our children to consider this country as our second country. In fact, practically now, it is our country and number one country, because I don't know when we may be able to go back to Vietnam. So practically, we are living in this country, we are socializing in this country, and we are trying to make this country prosperous, strong, and especially free.
Well, that was a very touching testimony by an immigrant from Southeast Asia who's now contributing to the American experience, and I suspect that as you did that taping with him, you felt the sincerity of his conviction there.
Absolutely. I mean, just working with these people is a great experience, and that's what makes the job so exciting. Mm-hmm. Not only working with the religious community, but working with ethnic groups, working with people in need, mm-hmm. and trying to create a sense of relationship from one person to the other. And to promote that through, try to get our media people to work with me on that, which they do. I'm very proud of the fact that I think in Austin that the media is very responsive to the needs of the church, and they do help us out quite a bit.
Right. Well, and we certainly have KTBC to thank for making this time and facility available to help with the religious communication that has a public service aspect as well. I think that as we watch Dr. Tran, a South Vietnamese doctor who is sharing his skills through his office and as a dedicated church person, that would be just about as good an example as you could find of what is happening in so many different places and ways as you cover it.
I think you've summed it up pretty well there, that it's the communication of religion is through the people who are involved with it. And even those that are not on a daily basis involved in religion, it gives us a chance to get together and talk.
Okay, well, in this talk you have given us a sense of how in the beginning was the Word and how at the end is the Word, as Dick Miner has shared his insights with us. With this sense of the Alpha and the Omega, I'm Richard Thompson, thanking you for watching. On behalf of Austin Metropolitan Ministries, extending you peace, joy, and love. Good day.
Call Austin Metropolitan Ministries at 472